There's a business model that made me over $1 million, and I didn't show my face, I didn't build a personal brand, and I didn't even have an audience. And the crazy thing is, most people who paid into this business didn't even know I existed. And that's exactly how I designed it. And the business model is called shadow operating. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what shadow operating is, how it works, and how complete beginners are able to make 10 to 30K per month with no personal brand and without showing their face. So let's get straight into it. So here's the problem with every other business model. It actually requires you to do one thing, and that is for you to be visible. So, if you think about building a personal brand, you've got to post content consistently and essentially put your face out there. So like the problem with this is that firstly, it takes a lot of time to build a personal brand and to actually have an audience that you're able to monetize. So there's that time constraint of, like waiting a couple years to actually make money. And then again, you got to be consistent for that period of time to get to that level of audience before you can start monetizing. So there's a lot of time, there's a lot of effort, and then once you're at that point, only then can you make something off it. But the reality is most people don't want to spend years building a personal brand. And I think this is super crucial because if you look at the online business space and the amount of people who want to get into this and start making money online, they just want to be able to learn something, apply it, and start generating income, right? Rather than building a personal brand, getting to that point of having a lot of followers and then monetizing it. So that is kind of like the reality, and why I'm super excited about this business model is because you don't have to show your face at all and you can start monetizing and start making money within a couple months rather than a couple years. And if I only knew about this when I got into online business 8 years ago, I would be much further ahead than I am right now. And the crazy thing is, I actually figured this out by accident. So let me tell you the story. So before I got into shadow operating in this specific business, one of my very first businesses, I wanted to build a white label e-commerce store. And that's what I did. So, I had a limited budget at the time, and I think I invested, a couple $100 into inventory. And so this inventory was of like these fitness bands. So they're like resistance bands, but they're not the ones that snaps. They're the ones that are like quite durable and they won't break. And how I discovered this idea was because I was a personal trainer and I was working with many clients, and in the gym, I would use these plastic resistance bands for the training. And one time it actually snapped and like flew across the gym floor. And that's kind of when I thought to myself, wait a sec, there's got to be something better than this. And so that's how I discovered, this type of product I found online, and then essentially decided to start my own brand. But the problem was I didn't know how to monetize it. I was just getting into online business. So I had to come up with a creative way to sell this inventory that I bought and kind of make this a successful business. So what did I do? I realized, okay, I don't have an audience myself, but what if I found other people, influencers who have audiences who are in fitness that I could reach out to, send this product, and then get them to post a story so that they could actually generate traffic to my website, and then that would generate me sales, right? I reached out to hundreds of influencers. I said, hey, look, I would love to send you, this fitness band, and in exchange, if you like the product, feel free to post a story. So I made it very easy for them to say yes. So once I shipped off those bands to the influencers, they then posted it on their story because they loved it. And sometimes they did post as well. So I used that content and built up the business Instagram page. But then at the same time, that generated traffic to the website and I was able to start making sales. And honestly, that was enough to kickstart a flywheel, and it kind of just spread from there because these fitness bands were made primarily for women. And so I had a lot of women influencers who were posting about it. And, when something is good, other women will tell their friends, and it kind of spreads like that. So yeah, I built that business up. I ended up selling thousands of those bands over the course of a year, and then later on sold that business to someone in the US. So that's kind of like my first taste of my first successful online business. And why I tell you that story is because I had to come up with a creative way, just getting into online business, wanted to make money, but didn't know how to monetize, didn't know how to get that traffic. So I figured out the idea that by working with other people who have audiences, I can leverage their traffic and generate sales from that. So after I sold that business, I think I was like 20 years old at the time, and I still wanted to, work with influencers because I love that idea of just leveraging someone else's audience. So I actually ended up getting a job as a marketing specialist for this very big fitness influencer here in New Zealand. Super successful guy, built up an audience over, I think a decade. So yeah, I worked that marketing job for about 2 years. And then I realized there's something bigger that we could do here. Because I think at the time it was just selling like low ticket fitness products. But I was like, what if we actually move into something a bit bigger and do coaching? So that's when I presented the idea of a partnership and us working together, essentially 50-50. I would set up everything on the back end. So setting up the offer, the website, the funnel, and all he'd have to do is promote it with his audience. He really had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So yeah, we went into a partnership together and that did super well. Over 18 months, we generated over 7 figures. So now you're probably wondering, like, how did we actually generate 7 figures? Well, let me tell you, he was a very successful fitness entrepreneur and he helped many people transform their physique, had a great body, but the one thing that wasn't being offered yet to his audience, and the one thing that had pent up demand, was how he got successful as an entrepreneur. So, although he had the physique, he also had a Lamborghini and he also built a successful business. And that was kind of the gap and the monetization that I noticed that we could actually offer. So that's what we did. I set up an offer, which was a business coaching offer, and anyone who joined that program were able to hop on weekly calls with him in a group setting and get access to more information, his courses, any resources, his network. And so that was kind of the package that we sold. But I think the more crazy realization after going through that process was that 2 times I was able to generate money online without showing my face and without even building an audience. So after listening to my story, you probably have a better idea of what this invisible business model actually is. So it's called shadow operating, and let me break it down for you step by step. So the first thing we want to do is go out and find an influencer who has a good following, decent engagement, but a monetization gap. So essentially, we can help them monetize better, and whether they're making a couple $1,000s or nothing at all. And the next step is that you partner with them. So you reach out, you say, hey, look, I've noticed there's a gap in your monetization. I can help you solve that. Let me go ahead, build, the website, sales page, funnel, payments, everything. You keep creating content and then we split the profits fairly. And there's 0 upfront cost to you. So that is a very attractive offer because I've got nothing to lose, there's no risk and everything to gain. And then the next step is you build the digital offer. So whatever product, service, coaching, course, whatever that you guys decide. And lastly, they launch it. So when they launch, sales will start coming in and you guys split the profits. That's essentially how this business model works. So we're leveraging their face, their audience, and your system, and both of you guys will get paid while you stay completely invisible. And after working with multiple influencers, I can tell you this is one of the best business models I've ever come across, because think about it, an influencer is great at creating content. That's how they built the audience in the first place. But usually they have either limited time or they've never done stuff like building sales pages or, setting up courses. Like they've never done that before. So their expertise is in the content side. So for you to come in and offer, your expertise, you're solving a problem for them. And so they'll be very open to work with you because they know they don't have the time and they just want to keep doing what they're good at, but they also want to make money from the audience. So it really is a win-win. And you probably don't want to show your face and spend time building an audience, so you can just use your skills in online business and, generate income with them. Now let me tell you why I believe being invisible is actually an advantage. Firstly, you don't actually have to build a personal brand. So like I said at the beginning of this video, no spending time creating content. You don't have to build it up over years before you can start monetizing. You can start monetizing today with an influencer. Next, you can actually scale this business model to like crazy heights because you're no longer the bottleneck. With a personal brand, it's just you, and it's all on you to create content and then for you to monetize, your audience. Versus shadow operating, you get to work with multiple influencers and essentially take a piece of the pie for each one of them without ever showing your face. So you can just keep going out, keep finding influencers and applying the same system to each one. And one of the best parts that I love about this business model is that you have essentially location freedom. So you can travel anywhere you want when you're doing this business because you don't have to post content. So it's all on the influencer and you can manage this business from anywhere because the only communication you'll essentially have will be you and the influencer. That's it. So when I got started in this business, I straight away went to Thailand. I stayed there for a couple months and then I went to the US, I went to Japan, went to Dubai. So I was literally traveling everywhere doing this business model. And I think if you're someone who wants that freedom of just being able to travel the world while making money, then this business model will be perfect for you. So now you know exactly how this business model works. Let me tell you who this is for and who this is not. So this is for you if you want to make real money online without building a personal brand. You're willing to learn the 3 core skills, which is offer design, funnels, and sales. You're okay being anonymous when the money shows up, and you want results in months, not years. Now, this isn't for you if you want to be famous or get credit for your work, or you want to make passive income with 0 effort. Or lastly, you're not willing to learn real business skills. Now, if you're watching this video thinking, this is exactly the business model that I've been looking for, a real way to make money online without showing my face or building a personal brand, then I want to help you. I'm currently taking on a small group of people that I will help coach one-on-one, so just literally me and you, over the next 90 days, and I'm going to help you secure your first partnership and generate your first 5 to 10K per month online. So if you're serious about this business and you want to see results within months, not years, then I encourage you to click the first link in the description. You can apply to work with me. It will just be one-on-one. Come on as a client and I'm going to help you through this business model A to Z. $1 million, 0 personal brand, 0 audience. If you're willing to make money and work in the shadows, click that link below. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and see you on the next one.